You're staring at a town painted entirely in blood red. Every building, every surface dripping crimson. The fumes burn your eyes, your head pounds, your skin starts to blister. This isn't movie magic.
Just a peaceful hour to drink it in.
This is industrial paint so toxic, it nearly shut down production. The cast and crew were literally being poisoned to create one of cinema's most disturbing images. What you see on screen almost killed the people who made it. Let's uncover the real price of bringing hell to Earth.
Why don't you watch where you're going? Look at this, it's ruined.
There's no need for all that.
Before a single frame was shot, disaster struck. On what should have been a routine location scout, Clint Eastwood ventured into the alkaline waters of Mono Lake, California. Without warning, he stepped into an underwater sinkhole and disappeared beneath the surface as horrified crew members watched helplessly. For several terrifying moments, the future of the film hung in the balance as America's biggest star struggled against the mineral-heavy waters trying to claim him. The incident wasn't just a close call, it fundamentally altered the production's trajectory. Eastwood emerged from those waters a changed director, determined to channel that brush with mortality into something unprecedented. Universal Studios executives were beside themselves. Their star attraction had nearly perished before filming had even begun. They pushed for comprehensive safety measures, stunt doubles, and a scaled-back vision. Eastwood refused all of it. "After you nearly die," one crew member later recalled, "I guess normal fear doesn't register anymore." This newfound recklessness manifested in Eastwood's approach to every aspect of production. He performed his own stunts, rode dangerously close to cliff edges, and demanded the same commitment from everyone around him. The psychological impact of that near-drowning experience infused every frame with an authenticity that couldn't be faked. The specter of death loomed over the entire production from day one. Largo wasn't just another Western set, it was a monument to Eastwood's uncompromising vision. When existing backlots proved insufficient for the director's dark imagination, he made an unprecedented demand: build an entire frontier town from scratch on the inhospitable shores of Mono Lake. The logistics were nightmarish. Every nail, board, and fixture had to be transported across rough terrain to a location so remote it might as well have been the moon. Construction crews worked around the clock, battling harsh elements at 6,000 feet elevation. The alkaline dust burned their lungs while temperatures swung wildly between freezing nights and scorching days. Production designers created not just facades but fully realized structures capable of supporting complex interior shots, and ultimately capable of burning to the ground. The price tag stunned Universal executives. Building an entire town destined for destruction represented financial insanity by Hollywood standards. But Eastwood understood something crucial. The isolation and otherworldliness of Mono Lake wasn't just a backdrop, it was a character itself, the barren landscape reflecting the moral emptiness at the heart of the story. The decision to paint Largo blood red for the film's climactic sequence seemed straightforward enough on paper. But when the art department discovered traditional film-grade paint wouldn't achieve the vibrant crimson Eastwood demanded, they made a fateful decision. They purchased industrial surplus paint containing dangerous levels of lead, mercury compounds, and chemical additives never meant for close human contact. The results were visually stunning and medically catastrophic. Within hours of application, crew members began collapsing. Headaches, nausea, chemical burns, and respiratory distress spread through the production like wildfire. A safety inspector called to the scene was horrified by what he found. Toxic fumes concentrated in the desert heat, creating a literal poisonous cloud enveloping the entire set. Production nearly shut down permanently. The compromise solution was hardly reassuring. Actors and essential crew could only work 30-minute shifts while wearing partial protective gear that couldn't be seen on camera. Many scenes were filmed with actors literally holding their breath between lines. The town of Largo became a poisonous hell on Earth, not just for its fictional inhabitants, but for everyone involved in bringing that vision to life. In the original screenplay, the mysterious gunslinger was named Samuel. But during pre-production, Eastwood made a decisive change that rattled studio executives. He crossed out the name entirely. The stranger would have no identity, no backstory, no moral justification. Universal's marketing department panicked. How could they sell a Western without a hero? The supernatural ambiguity Eastwood embraced created something genuinely unsettling. Was the stranger a ghost, an avenging angel, the reincarnation of the murdered marshal? For 5 decades, audiences have debated these questions without resolution. This deliberate mystery transformed what might have been a standard revenge western into something far more disturbing. A cavalry subplot originally written to provide moral clarity was unceremoniously deleted. When asked why, Eastwood reportedly said, "I'm not interested in saving anyone in this town. They all deserve what's coming." By removing traditional Western elements, the clear distinction between good and evil, the redemptive arc, the community's salvation, Eastwood created something that challenged the very foundations of the genre itself. High Plains Drifter's shooting schedule defied conventional filmmaking wisdom. Averaging 40 setups daily in extreme conditions, cast and crew pushed human endurance to breaking points. The remote location offered no comfortable accommodations. Most slept in tents, waking to frost on their sleeping bags before grueling 16-hour workdays. A union representative who visited the set filed an immediate complaint about safety violations. Dangerous working conditions, inadequate rest periods, and minimal medical support threatened to halt production. Only Eastwood's growing industry clout prevented a complete shutdown. What kept people there despite the misery? Many crew members spoke later of a strange, cult-like dedication that developed. They weren't just making a movie, they were surviving something together. This hostile environment infected every frame with authenticity that couldn't be manufactured. The exhaustion visible on screen wasn't acting. It was documentary evidence of what the production demanded from its participants. High Plains Drifter broke boundaries in ways that stunned even hardened Hollywood veterans. The whipping flashback depicting Marshal Jim Duncan's death was so brutally realistic, the Screen Actors Guild launched an investigation into potential safety violations during filming. Stunt performers later admitted the scene pushed dangerously close to actual harm. Vera Bloom's assault scene crossed lines that made even seasoned crew members uncomfortable. Her character's subsequent complex relationship with the stranger generated heated debates about the film's sexual politics that continue today. Bloom herself spoke little about the experience afterward, declining most interview requests about the production for decades. The gunfight sequences broke every established Western convention. Instead of honorable showdowns, the stranger dispatched enemies with cold efficiency, sometimes shooting them in the back without warning. Traditional Western fans felt betrayed by these violations of the genre's unspoken moral code. Eastwood refused to soften any dark moments despite studio pressure. When executives suggested toning down the film's more disturbing elements, he reportedly responded, "If you want a family Western, hire someone else." The climactic burning of Largo wasn't cinematic trickery. It was a genuine inferno consuming structures built for the sole purpose of spectacular destruction. Fire marshals initially refused to approve the sequence, relenting only after extensive safety planning that proved woefully inadequate when cameras rolled. The blaze spread faster than anyone anticipated, forcing camera operators to retreat as flames leapt between buildings with terrifying speed. The heat grew so intense that crew members abandoned equipment and fled. Throughout this chaos, witnesses recall Eastwood standing eerily calm, watching his vision manifest in flames that threatened everyone present. Modern safety protocols would never permit such a dangerous sequence today. The fire scenes were captured in a single, unrepeatable take. There were no second chances because there would be nothing left to film. This reckless commitment to authenticity produced images of destruction so visceral they've become iconic in cinema history, though few viewers realize the genuine danger faced by those who created them. What few people know is that Universal executives, terrified by the film's uncompromising darkness, attempted an end run around their director. Without Eastwood's knowledge, they commissioned and test-screened an alternate cut that explained everything, confirming the stranger was the murdered marshal's brother seeking justified vengeance, removing all supernatural elements and adding narration to clarify moral questions. Test audiences rejected this sanitized version completely. The mystery they tried to eliminate proved to be precisely what made the film compelling. When Eastwood discovered this secret screening, his fury nearly ended his relationship with Universal permanently. This behind-the-scenes power struggle cemented his determination to secure complete creative control on all future projects, a battle that ultimately changed how directors negotiated with studios for decades afterward. The extreme conditions forged unlikely bonds among the cast. Will Geer, already in his 70s, embraced the physical challenges, living in a tent and often staying in character between takes. Billy Curtis transformed what could have been a stereotypical little person role into the film's surprising moral compass through sheer force of will. Stefan Girash nearly suffered hypothermia during scenes where he was partially buried in frozen ground, refusing to break character despite medical concerns. These shared hardships created connections that lasted decades, with cast members regularly reuniting at Western film festivals to share their survival stories. The physical and psychological toll changed everyone involved, with many describing the production as a dividing line in their lives. Everything was different afterward. The film's darkness seeped into reality in ways none of them anticipated. High Plains Drifter has grown from controversial oddity to essential cinema in the decades since its release. Directors from Quentin Tarantino to the Coen brothers openly acknowledge its influence on their work. Film schools dedicate entire classes to analyzing its moral ambiguity and visual symbolism. Online forums still debate the true identity of the stranger with religious fervor. The film permanently altered Western genre conventions, challenging the mythology of American frontier justice in ways that can never be undone. Its initial mixed reception and modest box office have been overshadowed by its growing cultural significance, proving Eastwood's instincts correct despite initial resistance. The production's remote location has taken on an almost mythical quality in cinema history. Nothing remains of Largo today. The structures not consumed by fire were dismantled afterward. Yet the ghostly imprint of what happened there continues to haunt everyone who visits Mono Lake, as though the darkness conjured for those 24 brutal shooting days never fully dissipated. The stranger rode into Largo with no name and left it burning in hell. But the real people who created that nightmare, they carried those scars for the rest of their lives. Some found success, others never recovered, but none of them ever forgot what it felt like to bring pure darkness to life. The mystery of the stranger may never be solved, but the price paid by those who created him is written in every frame. Sometimes the most haunting stories happen behind the camera, not in front of it.